Yesterday, are you listening now? Settle in, settle in. Okay, yesterday we talked about, that function sine of x. Just help me out, guys. If you did sine of x, where would sine of x start? We start at 0 radius, and we get what for an answer? Don't we get 0?
Yeah.
0 goes in for sine, and the answer is 0, 0, 0. Okay, then sine goes where? Up to the max, usually 1. And then what? And then there it is. What's the end of it? This is 0 radians. What's this? Okay? Now, watch this. Because I don't know if I did this with you. And maybe I did. So, it says here, so if you get a messy one like this, sine of bx minus c, the first point will be when, and you got to think of it like this. We know we plug 0 radians in because it's easy. It's so easy. The unit circle says it's 0 over 1. So we want this number in here to be what? 0. So the question is, when's it going to be 0? The first point will be when this is what? Equals 0. And you solve it and you get that. Now that is that little s down there, guys, is the starting x value. So x s is the starting x value. And usually it's 0. But when you get a mess like this, it changes on you because it shifts back and forth, and sometimes it compresses and stretches and all that crazy stuff. This is what I don't know. Did I talk about the end point? That's the starting point. What's the end point? The last x value of your cycle. Okay. Add the period. That's what I said yesterday, right? Okay. I wish I wanted to. I want to say this to you now. That's the starting point. If you want, listen. You guys listen back there? If you want the final x value, really, 0 goes in to start, and what usually goes in to end it? 2 pi. So that means we could do this. We could take bx minus c and say, when will it be what? The original end of the period, 2 pi. And I'll put a little f here. F stands for what? The final x value. So this is the starting x value, this is the final x value. And of course, you got to solve this. I'm not going to solve it because then I'll just get a mess. And the mess won't mean anything to you. You'll see when we get going. This is what I'm going to do. Now, you guys all said, just add a period onto the starting value. You're right. You can do that too. I'm just not going to. If you want to, go ahead. It's up to you. Okay, that's where I wanted to make sure. So you end. I wanted to make sure you understood that. Do you feel like you get what I'm talking about? This is where you start. Solve it for x. This is where you end. Solve it for x. 2 pi where you end and 0 where you start. Okay? You said yes, we did this. Right? Yeah. Okay. Where does this come from?
The starting point.
Yeah, I know it's a starting point. Where does it come from?
Bx minus c.
Bx minus c, when does it equal?
0.
0. Okay, see this one over here? This is the x value. The final x value, where does this come from? Bx.
Equals 2 pi.
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing. I am not going to do that. Add the period. T is the period, by the way. Add the period on to get that. And I can do it, and so can you. I'm just not going to because I think you guys can solve equations in like 10 seconds. Okay? Okay, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just say this? Or you tell me. When it says plus D, what does it mean to do to the wave?
Up or down.
Move it up or down? Okay. So guys, if I go like this to you, this is sine of x, isn't it? Okay. So what if I do this? Sine of x, let's go 3 plus sine of x. What does that do to this wave? Up 3. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Right now I'm going to say this. Just start by doing this. Take your midline and move it up what? 3. And that's how I would do these today. Move it up 3. And then read your amplitude. Your amplitude is right here. So your maximum is going to be what? From the midline up what? Up 1, so you're at what? 4. And then from the midline down 1, so you're where? At 2. So you'd start right here, and you go to max, then back to what? The 0, but the midline. Then to your, whoa, it's a little off. Okay, there, and then back to your midline. There it is. So what did I say? If I see a 3 or 4 or 5, I move the midline up, and then from the midline I go up what? 1 and down 1, and that's the way I'm going to tackle it. Now everybody has their own thought process, and your thought process can be different than mine, and you're still probably going to get it. I'm just trying to tell you this is the way I'm going to tackle it. Okay? Are you okay? Okay. This was a summary. You have 2 summaries. One is dark, and go forward, and you're going to see one that's clear. And I don't have the clear one. Do you have a clear one? Yeah, you see it? Okay, let's go with it. Okay, let's repeat this. Ready? First, you're going to find what? The period. How do you find period?
2 pi over b.
2 pi over b. You guys know where b comes from? Right there. Okay, then I wish you'd add this in right now. This is not in there, so please add it in. You need to make a graph. Well, you need to know what you're counting by. You count by 2s, 4s, 5s, or how about pi over 4, pi over 6? So how do you get the interval? You take your period and you cut it into what? What? 4 equal intervals. So divide the period by what? 4, and you get the interval. That's what you're counting by. Starting point, they just tell you what it is, c over b. I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to actually solve it. I'm going to go like this. The starting x value will be bx minus c, when is it what? Equals 0. So this is how you get the starting x value. And now how do you get the end, the last x value? I'll just say ends at, how do you get it?
BXF.
Yeah, it's
minus
bx
c.
minus c, but I'm going to put
2.
bx sub f, meaning the final x value minus c equals what? 2 pi. And some of you might want to do this. I'll take the starting x value, I'll just add the period on, and I'll get that number anyways. And you can do it. Okay. Find the end point of the cycle by, oh, I didn't do this, I don't do it this way. I do it this way. Okay. Good? And then this part 4, I'll show you what I'm going to do, but you guys find the x coordinates of the 5 key points by dividing your cycle, your period, into 4 equal parts. We'll do that together in just a second. You'll see. And then give me the 5 points. Okay, and then here we go. The last 2 things I do them opposite. Okay, I'm gonna make this 6. I'm gonna make this one 5. So what do I do for 5? I find the d value and adjust the y coordinate. No, I don't. I adjust the midline. And I just showed you a second ago what I meant by that. Once I adjust the midline, then number 6 is the last thing I do. I look at the amplitude, and then it says to find the y coordinates. And what I mean by that is start at the midline. If the amplitude is 3, go up 3. Amplitude is 3, go down 3. So it's up from here. It's up 3, down 3, up 3, down 3. Okay. So this is the order I go in. It's kind of messy. I'm sorry about that. But you'll catch on as soon as I start. Did we do it? The bell rang, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I'm gonna give you 6 things to do. First thing, do this. Find your period. Second thing, find your interval. Third thing, where are you gonna start at? Fourth thing, where are you going to end at? Fifth thing, I do, what's the d value? What's d? Remember D is up or what? Up or down. That's what D stands for. And then 6 would be, what's the what? Amplitude. Okay. See if you can figure that out. Once we get that all figured out, we'll graph it. Tell you what, if you can't get number 1 right, we're in trouble. Because if you don't know the period, we're in big trouble. This whole wave is going to happen from what to what? From 0 to pi. The answer is pi. Did you get pi? Okay. Now, what's the interval? If pi is the period, you have 4 equal intervals to get it in. So what are you going to do? Yeah, you take your period pi divided by 4 equal periods. Oh, I guess it's what? That just means you're going to count by 1/4 pi. 1/4 pi, 2/4 pi, 3/4 pi, 4/4 pi. Okay. Starts. Where does it start? We're going to start at what? Take this right there, 2x minus pi, set it equal to what? 0. So you're going to get 2x what? Equals pi, or x equals what? Oh, guess what? The sine wave happens starting at pi over 2. So you don't start at 0, 0. You don't do that. You start pi over 2 that way. There's been a shift, guys. We shifted it 90 degrees to the right. Okay, where are we going to end this thing? Well, where does sine usually end? If it was just simply sine, it would end at 2 pi. Well, figure out when this 2x minus pi is equal to 2 pi. So you get 2x equals what?
3 pi.
Add pi.
3 pi.
Yeah, it's 3 pi. You're going to end at what? 3 pi over 2. So you know what? This wave, it starts at 90 or pi over 2. It ends at 270 or 3 pi over 2. Okay? Okay, what's the D value? That means the vertical up, down, up, down.
1.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. It's 1. Right there. So you're going to go up or down 1. This is up 1. D is up 1. Okay, amplitude is simply how high is the wave and how low is the wave. It's your vertical stretch, isn't it?
2.
It's 3, isn't it? Zach? 3? So your amplitude is 3. There it is. Okay, we got a ton of information, 6 things, but just take your time. I probably would say, where do I start? Where do I start? Pi over 2. And I know I should end at 3 pi over 2. So the nice thing about this graph is I have a pi over 2. And I have a 3 pi over 2. So that's the really nice thing about this graph. Okay, I want 4 equal intervals. Here, here, here. There you go. You got your 4. But you know what, guys? You're going to have to give me the 5 key points, so you might as well get the actual numbers down. You do know your interval. You're counting by what, did we say?
Pi over 4.
1/4 pi. Well, it's hard to count by 1/4 pi. Sometimes it is. I mean, so I'll change this to fourths. You know what 1/2 pi is?
2/4.
It's really 2/4 pi. Okay, start counting by 1/4. 2/4?
3/4.
3/4.
4/4.
4/4 is pi. Then what?
5/4.
5/4. Then 6/4, but 6/4 is exactly the final point, and we did it right. If you end on the final point perfectly, you did it right. What comes after 6/4? 7/4 pi. 8/4, which is 2 pi. 9/4 pi.
10/4.
But 10/4 is 5 pi over 2. Okay. I think the book will ask you for 2 full periods. That's why I'm doing that. All you care about is from here to here. Okay? Okay. So I got the first point, I got the last point. I've taken care of the intervals. I know the period happens between here and here. Question is this the parent or is this the parent lifted or?
The parents lift
Yeah, it's lifted how high?
1.
1. So I take the midline and I go to 1. And I go like this. Here's my new what?
Midline.
That's my new midline. Like the x-axis just went up 1. Okay. Then I know this is a sine function, right? Sine starts where? On the midline or at the max?
And midline.
On the midline, yes, right here. Good? Okay, now from there I go where? To the max. Well, how high is the max?
3.
Well, it's whatever the amplitude is. The amplitude is what?
3.
3. So you'd probably go 1, 2, there it is. There's the max all the way up to here. And then you go to the next interval and you're back to what? The midline. I know you guys said 0, but that's
Midline.
because we're thinking like the x-axis. But it's back to the midline. Now what?
Down.
Down 3, so you'd be 1, 2. You'd be where? You're at -2 now. Okay, so you go down there. And then back to the
Midline.
midline. So there you go. And that, you've completed the whole cycle. You went. You've got all the above the midline and below the midline. You're done. That's one period. Well, if you kept it going, you'd go where? Here. Back to the midline. Here. Here. So you'd be this and you'd be, there's 2 complete periods right there. Yes.
So on the actual formula inside the parentheses, it's 2x minus pi. So why wouldn't we also have the horizontal compression?
We did.
Oh, we did.
We did. See, that's all taken care of now.
Oh, right.
What was it? Was it 2x what?
Minus pi.
Minus pi. So really the way you're supposed to think of what you're saying is get this to, you need this to just be x, not 2x. So you got to think of it kind of like factoring out a 2. So if you factored out a 2, you know what it would be? It'd be x
Minus pi over 2.
minus pi over 2. And then you got to think of what is all this that's going on. This is a shift where? Right pi over 2. And then guess what this 2 out here does? It compresses your 2 pi period down by half.
Which gives you pi over 4.
And that becomes, let's see here, we took, the original would be 2 pi, but the period was what? Pi. Oh, yeah, okay, the period's pi. Okay, so that little 2 out there, that took your normal 2 pi, cut it in half, now it's pi. So this is the way you're supposed to be looking at things, like factor out a 2, and then you can say, oh, it's right, pi over 2, and take the 2 pi and bring it down to a pi. That's really a lot of stuff. It's much easier just to solve for 0 and solve for 2 pi and say, I start here and end here. So you asked, now you got that long explanation.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay? I'm done. No, I'm not done. I'm supposed to give you the 5 key points. What are the 5 key points? This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So on your test, you'd say, here we go. What's this point?
1 pi over 2.
Pi over 2 what? 1. Next one. 3/4 pi, comma what? 4. Then it's this one. Pi, comma what? 1. Then it's this one. 5/4 pi what? -2. And finally, we're back to here. 3/2 pi what? 1. There it is. You have to say that on the test. Give me the 5 key points. After these 5, it's just a repeat anyways, right? Oh, I don't have anything. But you do, don't you? Okay, what's your next one?
Use the steps for finding the 5 key points of the graph of this function. Y equals negative sine.
Oh, you went too far. There's another one. 3 cosine pi x. Okay, go. This is where you take over now, guys. This is where you show yourself I can do it without his help. Here's the only help I'm giving you right here. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. Kind of gives you the 6 things you're looking for. So what's the period? 2 is the period. Yes. 2 what? 2 degrees? 2 radians. Which is, if you think about it, 2 radians is somewhere around that 120, 110 degrees. I mean, so in about 110, 20 degrees, we're going to complete the whole cycle. Okay, what are we going to count by, guys?
1/2.
Yeah, you're going to take your period, cut it into 4 equal parts. You're going to count by what? A half. Well, where are you going to start? Well, you take the inside, the ugly, it's not just x, it's pi x, and you set it equal to what? You set it equal to 0, you divide by pi, what do you get? What do you get? 0, you start at 0 radians. You start at 0, you get going. Okay, where do you end at? Well, pi x, you usually end at 2 pi, well, figure it out. You're going to end where? You're going to end at 2 radians. And that should make sense. If you start at 0 and your period is 2, you add 2 onto your starting point. 0 plus 2 is 2. I mean, there's 2 ways to think of it. Up or down? What does this do? Yeah, it's not going to go up, it's not going to go down. There's no plus D. Guess what? You're not going up, you're not going down. Okay, what's your amplitude? 3. There it is. There, you got everything on paper. You should be graphing. I hope. Well, you don't have graph paper, but just make a like this, okay? Make the positive side much longer just because we typically talk about positive angles. Okay, you know you're starting where? Starting at 0, where are you going to end? 2. I put a 2 right, out there. And then you got to break it into 4 equal parts. And you know the intervals are, count by what? Count by half. So this is a half a radian, followed by 1 radian, followed by 1 1/2 radians, right? 2. Oh, that's easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's this number? How many radians? 4, 3. Okay. All right. Now, okay, this is sine or cosine? Okay, so cosine starts where? On the origin?
Max.
At the max. Okay, where's the max? Up 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3. There you are. And now, guys, it's just simply, just kind of rotate it. Max goes to what? 0, or the midline. Okay. Then from midline, we go to what? The minimum, which is -3, right? Back to the midline, back to the max, and you've already completed 1 period. You're like 95% done. If you could complete 2 periods, you know at the next interval you'd be at the midline, the next interval -3, the next one midline, the next one max, and now you have 2 complete periods, cycles. Yes? No questions? Are you sure? Yeah, Serena? Oh, what? Oh, thank goodness she said it, because that's kind of on the test. Here we go. The 5 key points are this. We'll start at this one. That'd be what? How many radians here? 0 radians. What's the answer? 3. Then it'd be half a radian. What? 0. Then it'd be 1 radian. What? -3. Then it'd be what? 1.5 radians. Then what? 0. Then 2 radians. What? 3. There they are. Did you get it? So, is it starting to click? This is the 3rd one coming, and this one's got a lot in it. Ready? I don't know. You gotta read it to me.
Y equals
Y equals
negative sign, and then 4x minus pi in parentheses,
okay, 4x minus pi in parentheses
plus 2.
plus 2. Okay. See what you can do on that one. If you get this, guys, without my help, you're really good. You could probably teach it. Yeah, I think you have it. I mean, it doesn't look wrong. Just can you grab it? Okay. Did you guys get this? 502 is the period. Okay, so we're okay? Okay, here comes maybe the harder part. What's the interval going to be? Take your period and do what? Do what to it? Divide by 4, but it's a fraction, so maybe don't divide by 4. Multiply by the reciprocal of 4 1/4. So it's going to be pi over 8. So you guys are counting by 1/8 pi. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, like that. Okay, start at what? Well, take the inside, 4x minus pi, set it equal to what? 0. What's the answer? Your starting point is 504. And I should say starting point. I should say starting x value is pi over 4, which is 45 degrees. Okay, you're going to end where? Well, it's 4x minus pi, what? Set it equal to what? 2 pi. Move this over, do you get 3 pi? Divide by 4, you get 3 pi over 4. All right. So I know I started 1/4 pi and I end at 3/4 pi. I've completed the whole wave, but what's this up, down? How far up do I move it and how far down? Is it up or down? Yeah, it's right there. Up 2. So it's 2 up, and then the amplitude is? Is it -1 or 1? 1. Amplitude is always positive. Now, what's that negative telling you? It's the parent reflected over the x-axis, which should tell you sine is going to start at 0, 0, but where's it going to go? it's gonna go down first. It's going to the minimum because it's a reflection of the parent. Okay, so here I go. And I start where again? Pi over 4, is that right? Yeah? Okay, so here's pi over 4, and I know I need 4 equal intervals, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I end at what? 3 pi over 4. And I know I'm counting by what? 1/8. Okay, you know what this is though?
2/8.
That's 2/8. Fine. So 2/8, what's next?
3/8.
3/8. Then 4/8, which is pi over 2. Then what? 5/8. And then 6/8. But what's 6/8? 3/4. Oh, it works. Okay, we did it right. Okay. And then I can do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know that's 6/8. This would be 7/8 pi. This would be 8/8. That's pi. 9/8 pi. 10/8. 10/8 is what? Right. Okay, there you go. Now, sine starts where? On the origin. But wait a minute. There was a vertical shift.
Up 2.
Up 2. So this midline, let's go up what? There you go. Okay, so now sine will start on the midline, and this is my starting point right here. Okay, and now is it going up to the match or down to the min?
Down.
Okay, how far down? Is the amplitude 1?
Yeah.
Did I not write that?
No, you didn't. You just can't see it.
Oh, yeah, amplitude 1. Okay, so down 1 right here. Then back to the midline. Then up 1 here. That's 3. And then back to the midline. So I kind of see it already. There it is. That's 1 complete period. And I can do it again. And again, and again, and again. Okay, boom, boom, like that. You okay?